come out here for our monthly seminar. Today's topic, as a lot of you already know, is on intensity and the correlation between that and your workouts themselves. Here, it's a great quote. If you like exercise, chances are you're doing it wrong. That is a quote by Arthur Jones. For those of you who don't know who that is, he is the co-founder of the MedX and Nautilus exercise brand. He's also one of the founding fathers of high-intensity training, the methodology that we, of course, embody here at Muscles in Motion. We're always harping on you guys all the time, every workout, all workout long, about intensity, how important it is. But what is intensity? I'm going to ask a couple of you here what your interpretation of what you think intensity is. Neil.
Yes.
Because you're going to drop a knowledge bomb on all of us. So. What is intensity to you?
No, I always feel like it's just pushing or working as hard as you can in every exercise.
Okay.
Heartbeat.
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 Okay. Like in terms of speeding it up?
Speeding up.
Okay. Good answer. Well, anyone else? Let's ask. Yeah.
Well, you can't do it anymore.
When you can't do it anymore. Right. Good. So all of those answers are actually correct. There is no right or wrong answer, but this is just proof in point that we are all individuals. We are all different. And Kayla is now, when you get to snicker and laugh at me because I say that lame thing around the house all the time. We are all different. You're all individuals. She's tired of hearing me say that. So let's look at a more definitive definition of what intensity is. All right. So according to Merriam-Webster dictionary, there's two definitions. One's involving physics. I'm not that smart, so I won't go into that with you. The measurable amount of a property, such as force, brightness, or a magnetic field. Now there's I'm sorry?
You can measure it.
You can measure it, and that's actually, yes, that is the big takeaway phrase in this definition, the measurable amount. Intensity is something that you can measure. It's something that you can quantify. Now the issue that a lot of people in the exercise community have, professional and otherwise, is defining varied intensities. How do you define half of your effort on something? How do you define 3/4 of your effort? Do you have?
I don't have an answer for that.
Oh, I thought you had an answer. So we do that in a lot of ways. We give percentages of 1-rep maximums. We give rep ranges, volume of how many repetitions you're doing. But is that enough? 50% of your 1-rep maximum, say you're doing that, whatever that is, but you do 2 repetitions and you set the weight down. You're not sweating. You didn't work very hard. You're not tired at all. But according to those numbers, you worked as half as hard as you possibly could. But do you all agree with that? Do you all think that you worked half as hard as you could if you do 2 repetitions of your 50% 1-rep max? You do 2 reps, set it down, you walk away. Right. Well, so it's confusing, right? And that's the answer, is that it's confusing. So there's actually only 2 real ways to quantify intensity. There's no effort, no intensity, you're not exercising, or there's maximum effort, maximum exertion, maximum intensity. You can also say high intensity, right? How do you define high intensity? There's something called momentary. I'll write this little acronym on the board or on this little chart thing here. MMF. For those of you who can't see that, I wrote an M, an M, and an F. Close. Sorry, go ahead.
Momentary muscle fatigue?
Momentary muscle fatigue or momentary muscle failure. The 2 terms are synonymous. All of you hear us. Yeah, go ahead.
No, failure sounds better.
Failure sounds better.
Yeah.
To some, yeah. All of you guys here is talking about this as well. Momentary muscle fatigue, momentary muscle failure. See, what Arthur Jones figured out was your body, on a very basic level, is a stimulus response machine. That is, the more stimulus you provide it, the harder you are working, the higher your intensity is, the greater the response, or the greater the adaptation, the stronger, faster you become quicker. So there is a dose-response relationship between intensity of effort and the results that you're going to get from your workouts. This is the true goal: momentary muscle fatigue, momentary muscle failure. We give you guys a lot of rep counts. We give you guys time under load. Hello, Judy. We give you guys a lot of different verbiage. We basically verbally vomit on you before exercises sometimes. I know I do. I have a
Only
mouth
verbal.
that way.
Yeah.
Only verbal vomit, right.
Yeah.
We let you guys do the actual part.
Yeah.
But we're always talking about this. How do you achieve momentary muscle fatigue or failure? Muscle fiber unit recruitment. That is what momentary muscle fatigue or failure involves. Maximally exerting or exhausting all of the muscle fiber units that you have on a given muscle group on a given exercise. There's an order that your body is able to recruit these muscle fibers. That's another fallacy we have in the exercise community, is that you think because you're moving really fast, or because you're doing a lot of repetitions at a lighter weight, or you're doing low repetitions with a higher weight, you're somehow bypassing this order that is inherent no matter what you do to gain a certain benefit, right? You want to train for strength, lift a heavy weight a small amount of times. You want to train for power, you move a medium weight really fast. You want to train for endurance, you move a light weight a lot of times. Those are all great ideas, but your strength, your power, your endurance all improve in a linear fashion. Think of it very simply. If you can do a heavier weight than you did the time before for one repetition, you can do a lighter weight more than you could before. Is that fair to assume?
Sure.
So all three of those things improve linearly together as one, regardless of your weight, rep count, etc. It just all depends on how hard you're working when you're getting to that point, achieving momentary muscle fatigue or failure. I'm not going to bore you with a lot of words with this, but this is the order that your body is going to recruit muscle fiber units in, regardless of how fast you're moving your weight, how much weight you're doing, etc. Any of you who have trained with me are annoyed by now when I tell you that humans innately take the path of least resistance. You said that to it, and you're shaking your head like, yeah, I hate your guts.
Always.
Right, always. As a human being, because I think you're all humans in here, your body's always going to recruit the muscle fibers that are the most easily excited, most readily accessible, and the slowest to fatigue, because you don't want to work too hard. It's not your fault, it's your body's fault. So the slow twitch fibers, or the type 1 fibers, are always going to be recruited first. Once those are exhausted and they can't go anymore, your body's then going to switch over to the fast twitch oxidative muscle fibers, which are going to be the 2A muscle fiber units. Those are going to be a little bit more difficult to excite or to recruit. They're also going to fatigue a little bit faster. Once those are done comes the traditional fast twitch that everybody knows of. Those are the fast twitch glycolytic fibers, or the 2B fibers. That is where a majority of your explosiveness comes from, your power. Any of those trendy words that you want to use come into play is with those muscle fibers.
As you age, those are the ones that go. They say your fast twitch go as you age. I've heard that.
Well, all of your muscles go as you age. Your body's going to degenerate on average 3 to 8% of its total body muscle fiber every decade.
Yeah, that's
After
happening to me.
After 50 years old. But that's why you're here,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
right? Because you can stave off that affliction, if you want to call it that, or you can even reverse it by getting stronger as you age. So that's good that you're here,
I
right?
should have done it earlier.
Yeah, but you're here.
That's right. You're here.
See, that's,
Right.
You're here.
This is a seminar/help group.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Here, I'm just being a snob and I'm going to poke fun at some of the exercise organizations that we have. ACSM, NASM, etc. They go on and on. There's lots of different acronyms for different exercise organizations. These are two hot words that they use. One is overload. The amount of load or resistance providing stress or load on the body that it is normally accustomed to in order to increase fitness. Fairly straightforward. Progression is the way in which an individual should increase said load or that overload. Does anybody have any idea of what the issues are with primarily this one, but either of them?
They let the marketing people write it.
That's, yeah.
And I'm in marketing, so I
That's
can-
actually probably the underlying reason behind what I'm even going to say, so yeah. Anyone have any ideas? Okay, so the issue with these primarily lies right here. The amount of load. They are using the terms overload and progression in regards to a weight, right? So this is a weight, right? The amount of load or resistance that you're providing on your body, how heavy something is. We all know, you all should know, weight doesn't matter for your progress. Again, if you do your 50% 1 rep maximum, that should be half of your effort. If you only do 1 repetition of your 50% maximum, that is not half of your effort. Can we all agree upon that? So that's one of the issues with those words. What we use here is called the progressive overload principle. Now the difference between those other 2 words and the combining of them here is that the definition for this is going to be the continuously presenting of a stressor or stimulus on the body so that it is unable to overcome it. That is, reaching that point of fatigue or failure. Fairly simple. This is done in a lot of different ways. It's hard to do. You all know this. I hear all of your moans and cries every day you come in here. You guys sometimes get to hear me cry when I'm being trained. I cry a lot louder than all of you. But this is done in touching upon the client-trainer relationship. That's why we're here, right? That's why we have these guys and we wear these snazzy polos. Because we're here to make sure that you are getting to that point of momentary muscle fatigue or failure, or at least as close as you can.